He's good at this.
Hey everybody, I'm here at Lashley Training Center and Integrated Health Center. I have Dr. Steinmetz here today. He is the amazing chiropractor that we have here. And we're going to go over some fundamentals of a deadlift and some modifications that we can do. So really quick, I'm going to demonstrate a couple deadlifts just completely off the floor. And then he's going to critique me and tell me how bad I did it. But then he's just going to go over, hey, how can you do a good deadlift and some modifications if you want to start deadlifting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a deadlift.
If you notice in the starting posture, he's keeping the head up, the shoulders back. That's great. We also want to watch that the knees are not going too far in front of the feet because that puts a lot of stress on those knees. It could cause some problems there. The back is not rounded, especially the lower back. That's extremely important. If you want to just go to the setup position, if you look at that, he has a very nice flat spine. The head is up. A lot of people want to put that head down, and that actually starts rolling this, and it puts a ton of stress right here, and this is how you'll blow out that lower back. You have good flexion in the hips and in the knees, and as if you notice, the knees don't really go past those toes too far. So go ahead and do that again. He comes up, and he rolls back a little bit, not hyperextending the back, because again, that will cause an injury. The feet, if you notice, are fairly pointed forward, and that is a modification we can talk about here in a second. But he's a pretty erect posture. The shoulders are not rolled forward. So all very good. And this is, if you're going to do a deadlift, this is definitely the posture you want to stay in for the most part. Can you still see me? Okay. You can put it down. You don't have to hold it there the whole time. So let's talk about a couple modifications. Sometimes what happens is in your ankles, you don't have a great dorsiflexion or upward movement of those toes, and that can create some problems. You can put like a little bit of a space underneath the heels that will help with that. You can also flare out slightly, like a plate. Just put a little bit of flexion into those feet. That gives you a little bit more range of motion. This is if you've had multiple injuries, surgeries to the ankles, something like that, that might be an option to do. You still won't want to do crazy, terrible, heavy weight with that, but it gives you into that motion of the deadlifts, squats. These are things that we do all the way into our 80s. So, getting up off the toilet, that's basically a squat. So you want to be able to be strong enough to do those things, and if you do it with the proper posture, you'll be able to continue to do those things. Flaring the feet out slightly, but not too much, can help with some of that ankle movement too. And if you flare out too far, you will put too much medial strain on that knee and will cause injuries there. So those are just a few things you want to avoid. A little bit of going too far in any direction, too high in the heels, too much flared out there. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people will use, they'll elevate the deadlift, right?
Correct.
To correct that, some of the posture as well. If you can't pick it up from the floor, you may be able to start, with the bar, maybe below the knees roughly, or even higher, above the knees. I'm just doing that off of either elevating it under plates or off of a rack as well. Your thoughts on that?
I love that. And that's great for a beginner because you might not have the flexibility in your hips yet or in the legs yet. And so to start there and kind of train your body to, maybe you start way high and then move it a little lower and then finally to the floor would be a great start if you wanted to start working on your deadlift. I would probably start that way.
And I've even heard too, your thoughts on this. If you, instead of going straight to a barbell, you could actually start with a kettlebell as well, using the kettlebell because it's a little bit less, a little more of a single compound.
I love that
movement.
actually.
Yeah.
That's actually almost how I do everything now. I don't use the bar anymore. I'm too old.
What would be your number one recommendation for someone wanting to start a deadlift that doesn't have that? Like, would you pick a specific exercise, like a kettlebell deadlift?
I would definitely start with the kettlebell deadlift. Would be a great exercise. You can also, when I used to train a lot and learn all these kind of things, we would break it down into different motions. Like a good morning would be a good start to work on hip hinging and that motion of bending forward, keeping the back straight without going all the way down and picking that weight up from the ground would be a good start too. So breaking things down into different aspects of what the deadlift consists of would be a great idea also.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. This was Dr. Steinmetz and me, Ian Lasher, here at Lasher Training Center and Integrated Health Center. Did I say that right? Integrated Health Center, where we can break you down and he can break you back into the correct position. But if you believe it, you can achieve it. We'll have to see you in the gym soon. Let us know of any other videos or anything else you'd like to see or have Dr. Steinmetz break down and go over. Thanks for watching.